But you know, leading this back, I want to talk about something a little bit serious.
All right, all right, all right.
And this is a tough conversation that me and you we've always been very happy, positive, energetic, outgoing
Heck
people,
yeah.
like always, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll speak for myself, and what I coming from you, which we'll talk about, is this problem of anxiety.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
really, really bad anxiety. Like I never had anxiety, or at least to my knowledge, or at least was conscious of it until a couple years ago. And there's big things that we both witnessed in our lifetimes that hopefully one day we can talk about and get deep into. But the thing as of now is whatever we went through or witnessed and or anybody else, we have a problem, and that's anxiety or an issue or a mental thing or something that
Mhm.
that is an issue. And it's weird, you know, that we both, I feel like we both were the same amount of energy, and like anywhere we go, it's like, they're crazy, you know, jumping around, dancing around, Snapchatting. But now it's like I have so much anxiety, bro, that like it's my cousin's 5-year-old birthday party, and I get invited, you know, and all my family's there, and I show up, and it's just so loud, and
Mhm.
people are running around, and I freak out,
Yeah.
like, and it sucks because it's like I'm over in the corner like hiding, and I'm like, like I don't want to talk to anybody, like my anxiety's just kind of freaking out. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
be calm, kind of doing it. And like I know like a lot of people are like, "Oh, hey Gage," I'm like, "Oh, hi, yeah, how you doing?" And I say like, "Yeah," and I
Yeah.
start freaking out, but it's like it's my family, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't even there 20 minutes, and me and my fiance just
Yeah.
bounced because I just can't handle it.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I'm here for 20 minutes around my friends and family I've known my entire life,
Yeah.
and I have so much anxiety I have to leave the place. And
Uh,
that's one example. But
yeah.
my question, to just even start all this off, you know, like I said, I've noticed this a couple years ago, you know, during the things that, you know, I was going through and or went through or contributed to it. Like, again, we'll talk about. But with you, when did you first notice that you started having anxiety?
Uh, you know, I looking back, obviously I can see like things here and there throughout
Mm.
my life.
Like hints and stuff, like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why it makes sense now. Yeah.
Yeah, so like when I was probably 13 or so, I had a pretty crazy experience. And I could probably get into more detail later on because it's a
Oh,
long story,
oh,
but
no, no, no. And you don't even have to say the whole
yeah,
thing, bro. Just, you know.
but it was definitely I remember like at one specific time I found myself like curling up and like breathing really heavy and like just freaking out. And I definitely think that was the start of it, but it
Mm,
never really got too bad. Like I noticed that when I was around a lot of people and a lot of noise, sometimes I'd get a little bit anxious about it.
right.
Um, but definitely when I was on my mission, that's when I really started noticing it because you do have that pressure of talking to people every day.
And we're strangers, you know.
Yeah, yeah, complete strangers, they could yell at you
Right,
probably.
right.
Excuse me. Wow. And you you have to consciously kind of think like how can I it not like you're trying to manipulate people, but you're like how can I help this conversation get to something that we're sharing, so it's
Mm-hmm.
not just a conversation but it's we're kind of
Mutually
doing what we're meant to do.
contributing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so and then you're constantly assigned to be like a companion or a coworker, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And sometimes you may not get along with them. Sometimes, I mean, all the time you have to learn to work with them, and literally, like you're with them all the time. And it's honestly for safety, for legality, in case you're,
Right.
because
Right.
people are out to get you sometimes, and so it's like if people assume something, another person's there to witness.
Right.
And it's also just to support each other because it's definitely I'm super grateful I had that companion because uh, you get stressed, you get overwhelmed, and you're able to balance each other out and help each other. And it's a really good experience
Right. Right.
to learn how to work with people, but it causes anxiety. Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah. And so just with all of that and the pressure 24/7 every day for 2 years, worrying about all that stuff on top of, like figuring out how to plan every day. And sometimes I'd get to an area I was assigned to and there just wasn't a whole lot to do, but you have to fill that time because there's not really anything else to
Exactly.
do.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those expectations really get to you. We also set goals every week, like how many people are we gonna find that we're going to start meeting with how many people are we preparing to be baptized, if
Right.
that's the point they're at. And then you feel that overwhelming, like, shadow of this goal on top of you, and you're trying to achieve it. So it's just, honestly, it's just kind of the perfect storm to cause anxiety, and pretty much every missionary will experience it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, but it honestly got pretty bad. And about a year in, I was finding myself, I wasn't able to sleep. My ears itchy. I was sorry.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
um, but I wasn't sleeping because I was just thinking about what am I going to do tomorrow? How, like, what plans am I going to make? Because if I don't fill the day, then I'm going to feel like I'm wasting time because there's not anything else to do. And I learned that there's always something to do, and God will always provide things for you, but it was definitely stressful. And I was up even when I was sleeping. It was like I was half asleep thinking about what am I going to do
Right.
and how is
Right.
this going to work, and maybe if I'm not getting along with my companion, how am I going to approach them tomorrow? So um it was a lot, and I'm grateful for it, but it kind of left an impact on me that I'm still working on
And figuring
recovering
out.
from. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool cuz to let you know, Gage and I have just always been on the same page.
Always.
Like
100%.
whenever we were going through something rough, it was either that person was able to help us through it because they
Hmm.
just went through it, or we were both
Exactly.
like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And so when I was going through this, I told him about it, and he was like, "Yo, I'm going through the same." And that was really
Exact.
cool.
That
That was
was
really awesome.
that was literally one of the craziest things, and me and you both, this is something that I hope we both can and talk about. I mean, it's insane how it's just crazy. It's insane how similar our experiences, this big experience that we
Yeah.
both individually went through, were very similar, and the repercussions, obviously, speaking now, is so extremely. I one day I can put it all together mentally before I can even tell others, but literally when I the best way, what I think my anxiety comes from is that big experience, and the
Yeah.
same, you're saying a lot of it came from yours as well, and it's crazy. But a big thing too that I also think about it is like my childhood. A lot of people like will talk about their childhood and be like, "Oh, like I remember that when I was 5 years old," and things like that. And it's weird because I'm like always talking to people and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you remember that?" Like, "Oh yeah, like I remember every detail." Like a lot of my childhood was kind of xed out. Like I suppressed so much because of this incident and other incidences, like being abused by my stepfather as a kid, and physically and mentally, and
Mhm.
never having a good household to grow up in. But those things, just once I kind of grew up, and once the bad people were gone, and my mom, I love her. She's literally my everything,
Mhm.
especially now. But back in the day, like she wasn't the best mother having a kid at 16 years old, and she didn't make the best decisions, and I don't blame her at all for that because like we
Yeah, I
all
mean,
make
who
mistakes.
does?
We're imperfect, bro. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? And we are, but it's like, I did go through those experiences. Not even, I wouldn't even say her fault. She opened the gateway for other people to hurt me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's what I'm saying when the stepfather comes in, and it caused me a lot of issues, and that's why, like, now I can't think about it. I legit will sit here and think, like, my fiance asked me a question, like, what was the street name of this when you were, and I'm like, I can't remember. And I'm like, I was
Mhm.
definitely old enough. I feel like you would know, or just small memories. Like, it's all gone. Like, I suppressed so much memories. And now it's like, I was so happy and energetic. And then once my big experience happened, and the terrible things I went on there, like, it really suppressed me even more. And it was like a lot of those old feelings I was trying to suppress, would just really started coming out and hurting, and I really started feeling it all. So that it didn't
Yeah.
help at all. So that's when 2 years ago, and anxiety it's literally changed my life. I'm not the energetic kid. I used to be the guy that would show up at parties and make everybody laugh. Like my family, like was just, I'd come in and just crack. I was so clever, just cracking
Yep.
jokes and having a
Yeah.
good time and making everybody laugh and smile. And it was just like a happy moment. And every time I do anything family related, I'm in the back corner hiding. And I hate it because like my family's like, oh, he's too good for us. Look at him.
Yeah.
And some, there's some family members that I have, or just good friends that are like, oh, he's too good to hang out with us. He can't do all of these things. And so It really sucks because it's like I don't it's hard to be vulnerable and explain all this,
Mhm.
especially in like a 5 minute, and plus they're all trying to
Yeah.
have fun and you're like, let me tell you about depression.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not exciting, but it's like it definitely, it's definitely affected me, and I'm trying to be the best me, like
Yeah.
especially at friends and family. And there's, other things like when I go to the store or something like that, I freak out, get super anxious, and I'll have to leave, like, or like, it's just a big thing is like it messes up your decision making, and I 100,000% agree with that. I think that's
Yeah.
my biggest issue is when I'm out in family, like I'd see a clever moment, or my family just would be like, hi. My decision making is so messed up. I can't just say hi back with like a genuine smile. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, hey, what's up? You need something, or how's things going? And you're like asking them, they're like, and it's just like my mind. I'm so in my thoughts trying to be normal. It's so weird how you literally know you have anxiety, but you can't stop it. You're conscious of it,
Yeah.
but you can't control it. So one way or another, it's like it's happened, and it's definitely affected me. And like you said, a lot of things in my life in general, from kid to now, like a lot of things are making more sense. Like test taking, anxiety, like when I sit there and I stare at a page of 10
Mhm.
simple questions and I can't answer them, even though I know it. I cannot tell you. This is my 6th year of college. I can't even tell you how many times I'll leave like a test, and I'm like, I know that question. Didn't Google, didn't note check, nothing. I know the question, but I had so much anxiety in the room, and like the first person that gets up and leaves, you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to be the last person, and it's just like that anxiety that comes in your mind, and you're just
Yep.
like, it stresses me out, dude. And so it's just crazy. Like this is, you were gone for most of this too. When you left, and I felt like I was this energetic, happy, outgoing guy, and I'm a much introvert. And I still get comfortable in certain situations and things like that. Like it comes randomly. Like sometimes I'll shoot a wedding and I'm like outgoing. I'll go on the dance floor a little bit,
Yeah.
like at something I'm filming, and like get really along. And other times I'm like, I just want to like lay back and kind of do my job and bounce because of that anxiety, and I don't want any attention. So
Yeah.
I can feel like that's the inner me, but it's like most of the time it's just that anxiety.
Yeah.
But
For sure.
my point being is saying all this is like it's just crazy how we both were this energetic, and when I was going all through this stuff, and I was like, I don't know how to talk about it, who talked, like how to even explain it, because I didn't know, at least at the time. And then when you come back, we start talking about it, like, bro, like, I just had this anxiety lately. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? So have I. Like,
Yeah.
and we can go through it together.
Yes.
you know, it's rough. It's rough, but I don't
Definitely.
know. What do you think about it, bro? I'm just trying to I'm trying to
Yeah.
explain it. I mean, this is like the first time, like me and you've talked about this and
Yeah.
we've gotten detail with this, but it's just top of the mind.
Mhm.
It's
It's hard
just
to explain.
it's just so hard to explain. I know you go through it, so I'm like, oh, do you have this feeling? And you're like,
Yeah.
yes, and
Mhm.
it's easy to explain, but it's like when you try to explain it generally, or just like try to tell somebody, like I said,
Uh-huh.
like my family, all my family's outgoing. That's where I got it from, and they're all like laughing and all that kind of stuff. Me, I used to have it, now I don't.